Hi there, it's been a while since my last video. The reason being is because I've been battling Dino algae, dinoflagellate algae. For around 6 months I was battling it, and to be honest I was at the point where I was going to give up. It's the first time I've ever had dinos. The reason that I'd gained dinos was because I was stupid basically. I took my nutrients far too low, far too soon. So when your nitrate and phosphate go down to zero or very, very close to zero, dinos has a chance to outcompete any other algae because there's no nutrients in your tank. So the other algae are going to be tucked away and able to produce, and Dino stepped in. And I thought it was diatom to begin with until I got onto the forums and I got a microscope. And it was Precentrium type of dinos. So all the different type of dinos you can get need slightly different treatments. But to be honest, it's the biggest factor of people leaving this hobby. And wow, it nearly done that to me, to be honest. Once I'd identified the type of dino, the most common way to combat it is sodium silicate dosing, to try and enable an increase in silicate so that a diatom bloom will start, which is the bloom that you get when you first get your what we call ugly stage, when you set up a reef tank. It didn't do it. It did nothing. I tried pH up, pH down, KH up, KH down, blackouts, lights off, changing of the spectrum of the lights. I tried so many different things, increasing my nutrients, temperature up, temperature down, everything that was recommended, everything. And I was at the point where I was thinking, I can't even see inside my tank. It was like a toffee kind of stringy, snotty algae. Sorry, that's not the nicest thing to wear, but that's what it was, with air bubbles at the end of it. You could not see hardly into some areas of this tank. I mean, as far as outbreaks go, with what I'm seeing on the internet, I'd say it was only probably about a 6, 6.5 with severity compared to some I'm seeing. But overall, it was as soon as your inverts start eating the dino, because they do think it's edible, the scent it sends off makes it to the inverts as edible, makes it feel edible. It's not. So when you've got omnivorous types of feeders in there, they're going to eat it and they're going to die because it's toxic. So it finished off, I don't know, maybe 15 crabs, about 10 snails. Chromis started to nibble at it, lost about 3 chromis, and finally I decided enough's enough. I'll give one last ditch attempt, and my friend was heading to the reef supply we go to, and I decided to use Dino X. I don't like using chemicals. I learnt my lesson doing that on, you'll see on my other videos years ago, with no pox, where I went too far with that as well. I'm a man of extremes, really. Never very good in this hobby, extremes. Anything that changes quick in this hobby is quite often not a good thing. So I put the Dino X in. You have to follow instructions very carefully, and wow, amazing, absolutely amazing stuff. Not cheap. It's around £24 to buy. I think around 500 mils. I can't remember exactly how much the dose was. I think it was around 15 mil. And I put it in every other day. So this is a 50-gallon aquarium, but once you've got the rock works in, etc., it's only down to around 32, because it's all in one aquarium. But don't go by, you have to check very, very carefully on the packaging with Dino X and dose it to exactly to the amount of water you've got in your aquarium. And it started to die. It started to die off. It went pure white, stringy started to die. It created a bit of a mess with the fact it was floating around, almost looked like if you were to pour super glue in the tank. And it just started to die, and it was amazing. I had to basically... oh, by the way, I didn't do any water changes for like 4 months, which is recommended because dinos thrive on water changes, basically, because the idea is, well, some way of thinking is to get your nutrients increased with a lot of dino strains of algae, but it didn't really make a difference to me, to be honest. The only thing that worked was Dino X. And then I started sucking the dead dino out, scrubbing the rocks. Took a while. A lot of the old silica sodium was all in there, caked into the rocks. It was a different reef. If you were seeing it now, I'd say this is kind of the best it's looked since setup. So I've only got the lights on at 50% at the minute because I've added the trachea that you can see at the front there, the green stripy one, which we'll take a closer look afterwards at. So I've got acclimating it because I've got the Kesselay 360X, and that is a powerful light. And I've also got the Kesselay 150, very old light I've got, just running at the back to cut away any shadows, which I'll show you as well. And it's been great since. So obviously it's been gone, the dino, for about a month now. And yeah, I have been worried that it's going to come back. But what I've been doing is make sure my nutrients don't go too low, feeding my fish regularly, skimming nice and heavy, and seeing how we go. So I was reluctant to add any more corals because the Dino X, unfortunately, had wiped out probably about 7 or 8 corals, some favias, a beautiful war coral I had. But do you know what? I'm not bothered, because I'd rather, once you get to that point, if you look up dinoflagellate algae, if you don't know much about it, have a look at it. It makes people leave a hobby. It's absolutely relentless. Everything you try, it just comes back at you. So I don't care that I lost them corals, and I feel bad for the coral, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have anything else but dinos. I had a little bit of cyno afterwards, a little bit of an ugly stage with some green, typical green algae, which you get right at the start of setting up a tank. So, but that quickly went because I added some more cleanup crew, crabs, large turbos. They ate that away on that back wall. That back wall was full green with algae caked. They made light work of that. And I also added a couple of corals, the torch coral at the front there, green tipped in the middle of the shot, and the trachea, and also on the right hand side, which we'll take a closer look at, some favias, and we're going from there. So I'm loving my reef again. I'm really going to fill this reef out slowly but surely, and I'm a better reefer for going through Dino X. I've learned a lot about nutrient control. I'd also done a Cheeto Refugium and was using GFO at the start of this tank, so it was just too much nutrient export and a skimmer. I've learnt my lesson. That's something you start to do when your tank's a lot more established and you've got the right balance between feeding heavy and export. Maybe you SPS dominant with your corals, and you can get away with that if you monitor it closely. I didn't do that, and I learnt my lesson the hard way. So there we are, but it's a lot more positive now. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos, and I hope you enjoy having a closer look at some of my corals now. I added a shrimp as well. I've got a dartfish in there, firefish, a large green chromis, a goby, which the goby and the clown, so the goby behind the trachea you can see now, and slightly off left middle of the shot, left hand side of the shrimp, survived the outbreak. So did the clownfish. So they've been in there since right at the start. And we'll have a little closer look now at my corals. Okay, so this is kind of the Favia kind of garden slash chalice that I've got going on the right hand side. So some colours coming through with there. This one actually has been with me throughout the Dino outbreak and had lost all its colour. So I'm starting to get some pinks in the middle now. That one's newly added, that mummy eye chalice. That's been with me through the entire lot, through the algae outbreak as well. The splatter Favia coral, that one there. So because I'm acclimating my trachea, it's not the best light for me to do video with, but I don't want to turn it up too much. And I've got this green tip torch I added. Loves the random flow that I'm getting with these IM wavelengths, which I've got 2 of now. I added another wavelength, very good. I've always kind of stuck with your higher end Ecotechs, but you know what, I'd had enough of it. I decided that flow was flow if you get that random turbulent flow and be clever with it, and it's how you set it up. So I didn't want to spend an absolute fortune on I don't know, 2 MP10s in this tank. I ended up getting the innovative marine, I don't know how you say it, wavelengths, the desktops, 2 of those, and it creates this lovely flow. I've got it on randomized mode, so it goes through like 5 or 6 settings, and in turn will create this flow. Okay, now I love this coral, this Trachophilia. It's like a rainbow type, I think. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's settled into my tank nice. This is why I've got my lights on 50%. I got an amazing price on this. The price is now, because of COVID-19, Brexit, for us in the UK, has shot prices of corals way up, because obviously the fish stores are having to pay a lot more on import charges, etc. And one of the fish stores I go to said that he's being charged 2.5 times more now, so he's had to put his prices up. So in one of the fish stores me and my friend go to, this would have been the equivalent of around 90 UK pounds. I don't know what that is in dollars right now. I don't know, it's probably not much difference, to be honest. And I got an amazing price on this for 65 quid, and I love it. So we'll see how we get on with him. Now over here I've got like a pink tip torch, which has been in here for a long time. Never really grew. I don't think it likes too much of high flow to begin with when I set this tank up. And also I've started to feed it Reef Energy A and B, Red Sea, very good. They're the brands available, but the Red Sea versions always work for me. Now this here, this Favia, is been through this whole algae outbreak since the start. Try and zoom in a little bit on him. I've got a bit of a soft spot for him. I'm trying to grow him out more. You can see that there's a bit of recession there, but it's healthy now. It's colourful, and hopefully I'll be able to bring that back to its former self. So there's a side shot of my reef. You can see there's a little bit of cyano down here, which I will suck out at the next water change. But trust me, a little bit of cyano after you've had Dino, that rhymes. A little bit of cyano after you've had Dino, you ain't bothered about that. I'm adding a beneficial bacteria anyway, a Bacto version, which is phenomenal, to be honest, that we get here in the UK, and very good, which is helping. So down here, I don't know if you can see that, that's my Toons or Tunzi water level controller and my wavelength, which is very good. So it's set, that's set on the If you see that blue S, which is lit up at the bottom there on the right hand side, that means that's in slave mode, and it's on mode F, which means it will go through all those different A, B, C, D, E, F in turn, and is following and being controlled by the other one, the other side, which I'll show you in a moment. So that's one of my wavelengths, and up here that's the water controller, the sensor, and I've got the dock skimmer, which is creating a nice toffee kind of whip skim now, and that's my A360 and the Kessel A150 ocean blue. So you can see the Kessel's, if you look there, is on 50%. I'm going to get the Wi-Fi dongle for my A360X. So let's take you around the other side. So that's the other side of my Reef. Down here you've got the mighty jet return, which is controllable. Don't know if you can see that, but that's the skimmer, DC skimmer now. That actually, the control valve for the air on there actually snapped off. I haven't had a massive amount of luck with Tons products. That snapped off. I also, my universal top-up sensor broke. So I haven't really been impressed, because I've not really gone down the road of Tons before. I've had high-end brands before, but I haven't been that impressed, to be honest. And that's the master wavelength. So if you look where the green light is there, that's on M. I've had to dial it down a lot. In here I'm keeping LPS. Now that's kind of a nice view. I'll come around this side. What I've created, if you see, is like a nice bit of gaps in between creating like a bommy reef for the fish to swim through. Nice flow that makes. And I've got my shrimp, which I'm very fond of as well. He's not long gone in, he's doing well. So yeah, there we are, you know. That's my update, and I'll be doing some more videos. Please feel free to comment and subscribe, and you'll see this tank go to another level over the next 12 months. I class all reefs kind of under, I'd say, 3 years old, quite new. Try and get some coralline algae on the go. I've got a lot of experience, but we're all learning. We all make mistakes, and I sure did. The hobby's great when it's going well. When it's not going well, it can be very expensive, costly, and make you just want to basically sell it all. But it's all positive now, and I should be able to answer any questions you've got. I've got quite a bit of knowledge in me, and there we go. Thanks for watching.